So Jeff, we've gone over the canopy and the plant health, and we've gone over the soil health. Now tell us a bit about the difference it makes to the root structure of the plant.
Well, the roots of the plant, that's the battery of the plants, where a lot of energy in that's stored. So this time of year, plants are actually in a growing mode, so there should be a lot of fibrous roots. They should be a nice brown colour, not black. The more fibrous roots we've got growing this time of year, the more beneficial your new moisture retention, as we've seen earlier on, and the extension growth that these plants are producing new roots every day. So they're continually new roots growing all the time, and absorption. So what we've got here is this is a control area. So if we have a look in here at the moment, I normally have a spade, but there's just a bit too many of them. So I'm just using a screwdriver just to try and find where the roots are. And as we do, we're digging up like that. And there's moisture there. We're not far away. You can see where the drippers run that way on here, whereas the other one that's running horizontal, that's just the more structure. So that's what the compost is very good for. But if we have a look at these root masses here that we're up, and as you can see, we've got these long shoots. We've got lateral feeding roots. They're quite dark, so they're struggling, and this is where the biology, they clean all that out over the period and get that happening so that new shoots grow. And we've got a few new shoots growing in there, but we've got very small lateral feeding roots, as you can see. They're quite small.
Yep.
And it's dark in colour. Like to see a brown colour. Yep. Health is brown. Yep. So when we go over here to this other side, I'll just shift my spade out of the way, and we have a bit of a dig around in here. As you can see, we've got stones all over the place. The first thing that we notice is the colour of the roots, the lateral feeding. You can see where it's actually come up and got onto the compost that's at the top there, but look at the size of these lateral feeding roots. Look at the cluster that you're actually getting in a handful. Nice and brown. They've got that browny tinge to them. We can see them all there. They dry up very quickly but that's just a massive roots in under there. And you can see I'm pulling them up like that all the time. But more importantly, that ground's actually quite friable underneath that. If I lift that out of the way, we can actually see all the new roots there. Look at that. We have a look under the stone and have a scratch around here, and you see how the ground's actually quite friable on this side versus the other. So this is the moisture retention, but we've got handfuls of roots that are in here. That's all new growth, as you can see, all the lateral feeding roots right the way through. There's quite an abundance of them. That's just broken off, and you can see them all in there. Nice and brown. See them growing? Around the bit of organic matter, there's a bit of your organic matter sitting in there that's actually worked its way down. The white hyphate and the fungal breakdown, that's already happening, it's already showing in there, so we can actually see that. And that's a saprophytic group and a mycorrhizal group will all be working in amongst there and helping to feed the plant. And you can just see in this little area the amount of root structure that's actually in here and how well it is. And that's a classic example of all the little lateral, see all the little lateral feeding roots? They're like hairs all the way down there. They're holding moisture, they're holding soil with them. And they're just all growing in there. You see the new tips that are all in there, all those light coloured ones, they're all new roots that are growing all the time. As we've got the moisture, but you see how we have these big long elongations? See there's not a root in that one. The lateral feeding roots, see how they're all quite stunted? So your lateral feeding roots away, it's all about, we've got more consistent, so this has to go in here, but if we pull that out, a lot of that is dead. Yep. It's actually not active. So there's very small ones in here, but it's so confined, it's only in this little area here. And the roots, see the roots underneath? So you're looking at your lateral feeding roots, you know, just underneath the dripper there, compared to this side. You can actually see all the associations, but see that nice brown colour that you've got there? Totally different from the other side. Yep. And what happens is when you see a clump of root mass that's sitting in where it was before, where all the moisture has been held, this has actually got more spaces, so it's actually growing out of the root mass, yeah. But there's actually more root mass there, yeah. And you can see it in here. See that? right the way down here, but that's continual. So we've got an area this where that one was actually quite, on the control was quite clumped. So if that one side shuts down, that shuts down a big bit of this plant.